have meetings planned, and we'll see what happens. But that was just an opening salvo. If we can't make a deal with China, then the tariffs will be very, very substantial.
And we do have some breaking news just into us. President Trump now pumping the brakes on a trade war.
As President Trump stated yesterday, he is still committed to placing tariffs on Canada starting as early as tomorrow, possibly.
Y tenemos plan A, plan B, plan C para lo que decida el gobierno de los Estados Unidos.
Breaking news is shaking up international relations as the leader of the USA makes a bold move in the ongoing trade saga. President Donald Trump has decided to pause tariffs on both Canada and Mexico for the next 30 days, all while keeping the pressure on China with continued tariffs. This decision has sparked a rapid response from our neighbors to the north and south. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced that Canada will also halt its tariffs in alignment with the USA's action. Meanwhile, Mexico has fired back by imposing its own set of restrictions in response to Trump's latest tariff announcements. The Wall Street Journal's editorial board didn't hold back, calling this the most foolish trade war in history, highlighting the intense back and forth that's currently unfolding. But while North America is caught in this tariff tug-of-war, Cuba is facing its own set of unprecedented challenges. Situated just west of Mexico, Cuba finds itself at a pivotal junction, dealing with significant internal struggles alongside shifting international dynamics. The island nation is grappling with mounting domestic dissatisfaction, severe economic hurdles, energy shortages, and pressing climate issues. These problems are compounded by Cuba's vital relationships with major allies like China, Russia, and Venezuela, all while maintaining a delicate and often strained relationship with the USA. The implications of America's trade policies are rippling through the Caribbean, with experts predicting that the ongoing tariffs could have profound effects on Cuba in the near future. Cuba remains one of the most heavily sanctioned countries by the USA, a situation that has shaped its economic landscape for decades. Under President Barack Obama, there were groundbreaking steps taken to normalize relations between the USA and Cuba, signaling a hopeful thaw in relations. However, President Trump swiftly altered this course, reintroducing a slew of new sanctions aimed at tightening the noose around Cuba's economy.
I am announcing today a new policy.
The Biden administration made some attempts to ease these restrictions, but ongoing anti-regime protests, a worsening humanitarian crisis, and a significant increase in migration to the USA have only made the policy landscape more complex. In a surprising turn of events, after securing another term, President Trump signed an extensive executive order that overturned 78 actions from the previous administration, including key decisions related to sanctions on Cuba. In his statement, Trump extended blessings to those in Cuba seeking freedom, further solidifying his hardline stance. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has also maintained a stringent approach towards Cuba, reinforcing the tough policies from Washington. Amidst this tension, Cuba has made a strategic and historic decision to join the BRICS group, a coalition of major emerging economies. This move was strongly backed by Russian President Vladimir Putin and was cemented during Cuban President Miguel Díaz-Canel's visit to Russia. Experts believe that Cuba's entry into BRICS is a lifeline, offering a pathway out of the severe economic isolation that the island has faced for over 6 decades. By joining BRICS, Cuba gains access to a new development bank, which can provide low-cost loans and much-needed development assistance, allowing the nation to diversify its economic partnerships beyond the shadow of American sanctions. The significance of BRICS cannot be overstated. This group, now including Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and Cuba, has grown into a formidable global force, representing over 36% of the world's GDP. In contrast, traditional economic powers like the USA and several Western countries are grappling with stagnation and political upheaval. BRICS offers an alternative for nations seeking to break free from Western dominance, and as the group continues to expand, regions like the Caribbean and Latin America may increasingly recognize the benefits of diversifying their economic alliances. Cuba's inclusion in BRICS signals a potential shift in the balance of power within the Caribbean. Historically, The USA has been the dominant force in this region, but with changing global dynamics, countries are now in a better position to explore more varied and strategic alliances. Russia, pleased with Cuba's move, has already increased its naval presence in the Caribbean, and with BRICS membership, these ties are likely to strengthen further. This development provides Russia with more opportunities to assert its influence, not just economically, but also politically, potentially challenging the USA's long-standing supremacy in the region. From an economic standpoint, Cuba stands to gain significantly from its new BRICS membership. The ability to trade outside the US dollar's dominance offers Cuba greater financial freedom and the chance to forge new international partnerships. This is particularly crucial for revitalizing Cuba's tourism sector, which has struggled to bounce back from the pandemic. Previously attracting millions of visitors, recent years have seen a sharp decline in tourism due to travel restrictions, deteriorating infrastructure, and internal unrest. Access to BRICS resources can help Cuba overcome these challenges, stabilize its economy, and restore its appeal as a tourist destination. Moreover, Cuba's engagement with BRICS is more than just economic maneuvering, it's a strategic move to bolster its political stance on the global stage. By aligning with powerful nations outside the Western sphere, Cuba showcases its resilience and ability to forge meaningful alliances despite decades of US-led sanctions and diplomatic isolation. This shift not only strengthens Cuba internally, but also sends a clear message to the world about its determination to chart an independent course. However, the road ahead is not without obstacles. While BRICS membership opens doors, the support from allies like China and Russia remains largely symbolic rather than substantial. Although these countries have publicly endorsed Cuba's entry into BRICS as a gesture of political solidarity, the actual economic assistance is primarily focused on crisis management rather than long-term development. For instance, Cuba's trade relations with China have suffered due to the island's inability to repay debts to Chinese companies, leading Beijing to reconsider its economic strategies in the region. Similarly, agreements with Russia have been more about restructuring existing debts to facilitate payments rather than offering significant financial aid, mainly because Russia itself is dealing with its own set of domestic and international challenges. This means that while Cuba's BRICS membership is a step in the right direction, the tangible benefits may take time to materialize. The island nation must continue to pursue structural reforms and leverage multilateral opportunities to address its enduring economic vulnerabilities. Additionally, Venezuela remains a crucial oil supplier to Cuba, but both nations are finding their relationship tested under the strain of resource shortages and political instability. Without meaningful reforms or substantial foreign aid, Cuba's economic and energy crises are expected to linger, despite the potential advantages of its new alliances. Climate challenges add another layer of complexity to Cuba's situation. Addressing these issues will require significant international aid and investment, areas where partnerships with China and BRICS can play a pivotal role. However, this dependence might limit Cuba's autonomy in decision-making and economic policies, as resource constraints continue to hinder large-scale mitigation efforts. Should Russia provide Cuba with oil and gas support, it might offer temporary relief, but such assistance is likely short-term and could serve as leverage against the USA in the long run. Similarly, China may position Cuba as a strategic player in its broader efforts to counter US influence in the Caribbean. Cuba's accession to BRICS has undoubtedly prompted the USA to reassess the growing influence of China and Russia in the Caribbean. As these global powers expand their reach, the USA must navigate a more complex and multipolar world, where old alliances are tested and new partnerships emerge. The evolving dynamics in the Caribbean serve as a microcosm of the broader shifts happening on the global stage, highlighting the challenges and opportunities that come with a changing geopolitical landscape. In conclusion, Cuba's strategic move to join BRICS marks a significant turning point, not only for the island nation, but also for the geopolitical balance in the Caribbean and beyond. While the path forward is fraught with challenges, the potential benefits of diversifying economic partnerships and reducing dependence on US sanctions offer Cuba a renewed chance at economic stability and international relevance. As Cuba navigates this new chapter, The world watches closely, recognizing that the ripple effects of these developments will have lasting implications for global trade, political alliances, and the balance of power. Thank you for tuning in to stay informed on these critical international developments.